Hi class, so this is our first session of the semester, the 8 weeks. Welcome. I'm excited about teaching you all that is to come for the next 8 weeks. But today we're really just spending some time with this first assessment. And this basically is pretty much a gauge of where you are before we start. So obviously, there isn't going to be any real teaching going on in this assessment. I'm just going to be talking and demonstrating each exercise, and then we are actually just going to practice and get a result for today. So obviously the next time we assess, the second time, the final time, you will have learned throughout the semester, throughout the 8 weeks, and there will definitely be improvements made for each of these exercises. So the learning curve, is a factor today. Do the best that you can, and just go through each one as best as you can and put down your results. And then you're going to put those results onto your sheet that I've uploaded for you, and then you're going to submit that back to me so that I can see that you've actually completed the assessment. You'll receive points for the assessment that you turn in, that you submit back to me, and then you'll also have that copy for the next time. It should be downloaded onto your computer. If you want, you can actually print out the assessment if you'd like, and just take a picture and then submit it to me if you'd like. So we're going to go ahead and get started, but this assessment, like I said, I'm going to go one exercise at a time. Make sure that you have a piece of paper and a pen where you can write down your results for each exercise or plug it into your phone. And the first thing we're going to talk about is our breath duration. So that's the first exercise that we are testing. We are only doing one exercise one time. So all of those number ones on your assessment, those are your results today. You're not doing 2 times and answering 2. You're just answering all the number ones on the left side of the assessment. So I want to make that very clear because that's a little bit confusing. Everything is being tested one time, okay? So breath duration. How we breathe in this class is very important, and I will actually go into more detail next week on Monday on our first session. Our traditional session about the breathing technique. But today, how we will test the breathing is just one full breath. And so keeping in mind that we want to get the most out of this breath, we're going to make sure that how we breathe today is very similar to how we breathe later. And that is taking the deep inhalation as far as you can take it, deep, 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 slowly pulling that breath in, and then the transition between your inhale and your exhale should also be slowed down. So we're trying to just get the most out of this one breath by slowing it down. Ideally, it would be an easy transition. However, you may need to learn this and practice this to be better at it. So before you get started, I just want you to practice breathing in either through your mouth or through your nose as deeply and slowly as you can. And when you get to the point where you need to exhale, I want you to transition as slowly as you can and push that exhale out far and slow. And really push it out as slow as you can. So that is the method of the breathing. How you'll test is you are going to time it. So you will need your phone next to you to time it, or a clock on the wall, or your watch, okay? You're breathing one time, you're not holding your breath. It's one breath and it's timed, okay? So you're going to inhale. As soon as you start to inhale, you'll start your timer, and as through the breath, when you're done exhaling and you push that exhale out as far as you can take it, you'll stop your timer, and those are the seconds that you'll put as your breath duration number 1 result, okay? That is all you're doing. You're not holding your breath. You're not breathing multiple times. You are breathing one time, and you're timing that one breath. Inhalation, exhalation from start to finish, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and pause the video, allow you to do that, write down your result, and then we'll come back to the video. All right, so our next one is called the 100. So on your assessment, the 100 is the exercise that you'll be writing down your result out of 100. It's whatever you accomplish, whatever you complete in this exercise. I'm going to demonstrate and I'm going to talk you through it, but a couple things to keep in mind when you are practicing this 100 is that we are going to be starting or testing with straight lowered legs, but when we actually start with the 100 next week, our legs will be bent, okay? But we want to assess with an actual traditional 100 exercise. The pumping of the arms is coordinated with your breathing. So before we start, I'm just gonna practice with you how the breathing goes. So we are going to pump our arms up and down. Our arms will be straight, locked out, palms facing down, and we are going to be pumping probably a good 5 to 10 inches up off the ground. And for every pump, you're going to inhale. So pumping for 5 counts, 5 pumps is an inhale. 5 pumps of my arms will be an exhale. So pumping, inhale, pumping, exhale. That is one breath, okay? So 10 total pumps of my arms equals one breath. And we're gonna try to accomplish 10 total breaths, which is 100 pumps of the arms, okay? While we're pumping and breathing, we are holding our head and our shoulders and our legs in a certain position. And so that is going to be awkward for some of you, and you're going to do the best that you can to hold this position and pump your arms, but also count and keep track of how many pumps that you can do, okay? So there's a lot going on. It's a very complicated, complex exercise here. While we're holding our legs and holding our head and shoulders up off the mat, we are going to do what's called scooping. And the scooping just simply means that I am trying to flex or contract my abdominal muscles and press my lower back down into the mat, okay? So I'm scooping, which just means there's a connection between my abdomen and my mat, okay? It engages my back muscles, which is connected to the mat. So when you hear me say scooping, that just simply means you're going to pull your abdominals in and try and connect your back to the mat, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and demonstrate this very complex exercise. So you're going to come down to your mat. What's going to happen here is my head and my shoulders are going to raise up off of the floor. From here, I'm going to keep my neck rounded and drop my chin to my chest. So I'm looking down at my belly button here, okay? Shoulder blades are elevated off the mat. I immediately start scooping, which just means, like I said, I'm pulling my abdominals in and trying to connect my low back to the mat. So if my head comes back and my shoulders come back up to the mat, there's a natural arch that happens in my lower back, okay? If I bring my head and my shoulders up off the mat, I'm going to find it easier to connect my lower back to the mat. That's the scooping part, okay? The next thing, go ahead and keep your head on the mat for now. You're gonna go ahead and bring your legs straight up together. Now when I lift my head and shoulders up, I'm going to lower my legs out away from me. So I have this open angle here of my legs. I've dropped my legs. And from here, I'm going to start the pumping, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and bring my feet to the ground, my head to the ground. Pumping 5 for an inhale, pumping 5 for an exhale. We're going to keep count of how many breaths how many pumps that we do in this 100, okay? Until form is sacrificed, meaning my legs have to drop or I need to bring my head down to the mat, or I get all the way to 100 pumps, okay? So I'm going to keep count on my hand. So every time I pump 5 and 5, which is 10 total, I'm going to add a finger to my count, which means that's 10. And then I'm going to pump for 10 more, that's 20. And I'm just going to keep count on my hands while I'm pumping so that when I'm done, and if I stop early, I can look at my hands and say I pumped 70 times, okay? So we're going to go ahead and begin. I'm going to demonstrate. You can do this with me, or you can watch me demonstrate and then you can practice this, okay? So, legs are up, head and shoulders up, chin to chest, lower the legs, scoop, and begin to pump. 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 'So I counted 10 total times, which means 100. And if I had stopped earlier, it would have been 8 or 89 or 97 or 70, whatever it was that I completed, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video. You go ahead and test for the 100, put down your results in the number 1, and then we'll move on to the next exercise. All right, so the next exercise that we're testing for is the Fab 5. So there are 5 exercises. I'm going to teach each one independent of each other very quickly. I want you to practice each one, not for too long. And then the test is actually combining all 5 so that they are within one workout. And so it's continuous movement until you are done or you've completed the entire workout, okay? So the Fab 5, 5 exercises. We are all attempting this exercise or this workout with 5 repetitions of each exercise, okay? So there's 5 exercises, and then we're gonna do these 5 times each in a row as far as we can take it. All right, so we're gonna learn the first exercise, and the first exercise of the Fab 5 is called single leg stretch. Single leg stretch looks like this. So we are on our backs. Our head and shoulders are up off the mat, which means our chin is to our chest and we are scooping, okay? Both knees start in. From this position, I am going to draw one knee in and extend the other leg out parallel away from me, parallel to the floor. So while I'm scooping with my chin to my chest, I'm going to exchange the legs, gently pull on the knee, and I have to pull 2 knees to equal one of the 5. So right knee in, left knee in is 1. Right knee in, left knee in is 2. Okay, so we're going to do this 5 times. This is single leg stretch. The next exercise of the 5, number 2, is called double leg stretch. So head and shoulders up off the mat, both knees start in, hands over the top. From here, I'm going to extend both legs out, reach back with my arms, sweep my arms around and pull my knees in to start. So my chin is to my chest, I'm scooping. I just slowly extend arms and legs, sweep my arms around and pull. So we'll do 5 of those after our single leg stretch. So single leg, one leg at a time, double leg, both legs, okay? The third exercise is called crisscross. It's the one exercise that's different from the rest, so it's in the middle. I'm going to start with my knees in, my head and shoulders up off the mat. I'm chin to chest and scooping. I'm going to bring my hands behind my neck. Now the legs are going to do the same work that single leg did, but now I'm going to cross over my rib cage and try and connect my elbow to opposite knee. So I slowly transfer over, keeping my rear on the floor. That's why we have this horizontal parallel leg, to keep from rocking and lifting. We want to stay as centered as possible. So right knee in, left knee in, that's 1. Right knee in, left knee in, that's 2. So we'll do that 5 times. So single leg, one leg in, double leg, both knees in, both legs out, crisscross, coming across. Then we have 2 exercises, single straight, and it's just like single leg stretch, but now our legs are straight. So both legs all the way up, head and shoulders up. Again, demonstration. I'm going to pull gently on the back of this leg and extend my other leg. Then I'm just switching legs. I'm scooping. My chin is to my chest. Left leg in, right leg in, that's 1. Left leg in, right leg in, that's 2. Single straight leg stretch. And we'll do that 5 times after crisscross. So single leg, double leg, crisscross, single straight, double straight. So double straight is the 5th exercise of the Fab 5. Both legs are all the way up, head and shoulders up, chin to chest, scooping, hands behind my neck. Both legs come down, both legs come up. So nice and slow, really connecting the back to the mat and breathing. So we do 5 of these. I'm going to try and stay away from swinging and using momentum. We're really just slowing it down. Okay? So we have 5 of those. So we're going to practice all 5 exercises in a row. You can stay with me if you'd like. I'll go through the whole workout. When you stop, you need to keep track of where that is in the Fab 5. So if you do 5 single legs, 5 double legs, and you get halfway through 5 crisscrosses, you did not complete crisscross, so you've only completed 2 exercises of the 5. If you complete crisscross but you don't complete single straight leg, that means you completed 3 of the 5, if that makes sense. If you get all the way to the end and you finish double straight with me, you've done 5 of the exercises at 5 times each, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and begin. You can watch me and go with me, but we're not pausing, we're not stopping. But if you do, make sure you write that down on your sheet, okay? All right, go ahead and bring both knees in, head and shoulders up. We're gonna start with single leg stretch. 5 of each in a row. Here we go. Single, in, that's 1, that's 2, 3, that's 4, that's 5. Double leg, both knees in, reach out, sweep around, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Crisscross, hands behind your head. Left knee in, right knee in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Single straight, both legs up. Right leg in, left leg in. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Double straight, both legs up, hands behind your neck, dropping down, lifting up. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Good. All right, so write your result in Fab 5, number 1. Write down how many you completed, and we'll go to the next exercise. All right, the next exercise we're testing is called the roll-up. We are going to start on our backs, and we are testing our abdominal and our hip and our pelvic floor strength, okay? So we're slowing it down. We are not using momentum. I'm gonna go ahead and demonstrate it. Some of you will not be able to get your upper body up off of the mat and come up. So your result is going to be more of a description, keeping track of where your body gets stuck. So where my shoulders are, where my back is off of the mat. If I'm able to come up off of the mat and come down with a traditional roll-up, you're going to go ahead and put down 1 roll-up. If you'd like to do more, you can do more, but I just really want to see if you can leave some room for improvement for the second time. So try not to go more than 5 if you can. Do an actual roll-up, and then we'll see what kind of improvements we make by the end of the semester, okay? So this is the demonstration. So I'm going to come all the way down on the mat. I'm going to extend my arms behind my head, and this is my starting position. Now, when I start to pull my trunk up, I'm going to practice that scooping that we talked about. So the scooping happens when we pull our abdominals inward and towards our spine, which means our back is going to connect to the mat. What is also happening when we roll up is I'm going to engage my glutes. So I'm going to tighten my glutes, pull my lower back into the mat, and I'm also going to flex or tighten my pelvic floor, okay? Inside our pelvis, we have these muscles down below, and we are going to tighten those muscles. We'll talk more in details about the pelvic floor next week on Monday. But basically, I am just slightly tilting my hips upward, tightening my glutes, and pressing my back into the mat. So there's a lot going on here in this lower region of our trunk, okay? So that is what's going to happen when we lift. So demonstration, my arms start behind me. I'm going to sweep my arms upward. As soon as I see my hands, I'm going to lift my head up off the mat, lift my shoulders, drop my chin to my chest, start to contract, and pull myself up and over my legs. And then I'm going to return to the mat slowly, connecting my low back to the mat, staying scooped, my middle back, and my upper back. And bring my arms back behind me. So again, I sweep, I lift, I engage, I pull. Notice everything is slowed down. I come back down, slowly connect my low back, my middle back, and my upper back. I do not want to use momentum to try and get up, okay? So I'm slowing everything down. Now, if I get to the point where I lift my shoulders up, but I cannot get past here, this is what I'm going to write down in my result. My upper back off the floor, or shoulder blades off the floor, or head off the floor if I get stuck here, okay? that is my result. Otherwise, I'm writing down a number of how many roll-ups I was able to complete. Keep your feet on the floor, keep your hips and glutes on the floor, and do the best that you can. Go ahead and write down your result, and then we'll go to the next exercise. All right, so our next exercise is our push-up leg pull down. I'm going to demonstrate two variations, a modified and a traditional. I think you pretty much know if you're able to do a push-up with your knees on the ground or off the ground. So if you do know that, you're going to circle if you did a modified with your knees on the ground, or circle the traditional with your knees off the ground when you do the push-up, okay? So we're testing our upper body strength as well as our core strength. What's going to happen here is I'm going to demonstrate the modified version first. So knees are bent. I'm going to come down with my hands on the mat. Keeping my knees and my feet off the ground, or on the ground, I'm going to lower my hips down so my back is flat. And I'm going to complete a push-up. So I bend my elbows, my whole trunk comes with me. From here, my knees come up off the ground, and I'm going to transfer my weight as I lift one leg off the ground. I'm going to transfer my weight back onto my heel, come back, lift the other leg, transfer my weight back onto that heel, back to start, knees down. That's one. So it looks like this in real time. Push up, pull down, that's one. Continuous until you stop, okay? Traditional push-up leg pull down, knees off the ground. Push up, pull down, pull down. Push up, pull down, pull down. So that's the demonstration for both of those push-ups. You choose which one to do, circle which one you're going to do, and go ahead and practice. And again, just try to keep some room for improvement between the 1 and number 2. So if you're really strong at push-ups, I would just, keep yourself in check, maybe no more than 10 for those push-ups so that you have some room to improve upon. Okay, go ahead and practice your push-up leg pull down, and then we'll go on to the next exercise. All right, so the next exercise is the spine stretch. And so we are testing the flexibility of our hamstrings, our glutes, and our lower back. So this is a gauge of how far we can reach forward with our hands. So what we're going to answer, our result is going to be a little descriptor of where our hands meet either our feet or our legs, or beyond the feet, okay? So if you have a mat, if you're using a mat right now, use the width of your mat to where your feet should be positioned, okay? If you're not using a mat, just make sure that your feet are approximately, 2 feet away, 2 actual feet, 24 inches away from each other. So you have a nice V position of your legs, okay? So we're going to practice this exercise to warm up, and then we'll actually test the exercise. So this is called spine stretch, and so it's a very dynamic, active move to release any tension in the lower back, the glutes, the hamstrings. It's also a great exercise just to limber up before doing any twisting exercises or seated exercises that require rotation or strength. Okay, so we are going to extend our arms up above our head, and we're shifting forward, we're pitching forward with our trunk at our hips, okay? So when we come forward, lean forward with our trunk, we're trying to maintain a flat back. So we're trying to lead this stretch with our chest. So we're going to pitch forward as far as we can. And when we get to that point where we feel like this is as far as we can go, we're going to scoop or round our back and pull our arms in. And then come into flat back, nice posture here. Bring those arms up again and shift forward at the hips. Rounded back as you draw your arms in. Flat back as you draw your arms up. Over the top, flat back. Scooping, flat back to the top. So just practice a few spine stretches. Just trying to increase flexibility each time you pitch forward, okay? Again, extending out, reaching with your chest. And you should start to feel the hamstrings releasing and the glutes, okay? This is how we test this exercise. I'm going to stop at the point where I can, that's all, as far as I can go. So I'm not going to pull my arms in. When I stop at that point, I'm going to lower my hands to the mat, and then I'm going to gauge where my hands drop. So watch me. So I'm going to reach forward. This is as far as I can go. I'm going to drop my hands, and I'm going to notice that my wrists are past my heels. So I'll say wrists past my heels, or I could say elbow at mid-shin is what I can gauge here. I could also say shoulder at knee if I wanted to. But you're just going to lower those hands to the mat, see where they are according to somewhere on your body, and then you'll write down that result. One time, that's it. Down and over, lower the hands, look where they are, what you can write down your result, and then we'll move to the next exercise. All right, next exercise, this is Superman pulls. So we are going to test our lower back strength as well as our trunk, so our core strength really. It has a little bit to do with our upper back as well. So we're gonna go ahead and turn over onto our tummies. I'm gonna demonstrate what we're doing. So down on our tummies, our arms are going to be leading our head, so up here, extended up. From here, I can keep my arms bent, that's fine, but they definitely need to lead my head here. So we don't want them down here, up here. From here, what's going to happen is I'm going to lift my arms and my legs off the mat at the same time. My knees need to be off the floor, but I'm going to keep my legs straight and my arms extended to start. So it looks like this. Then I'm going to pull my elbows down to my sides, keeping my legs elevated, bring my arms back to start, and then lower my arms and legs and head. I'm going to practice this as many times as I can in a row until I stop or I feel comfortable with a good result. So it looks like this in real time. I lift up. 1, 2, 3, okay? So you're going to go ahead and practice Superman pulls. The pull is the elbows coming back to the sides. The Superman is the lifting, obviously. When you stop, make sure you keep count, write down your result, and then we'll move on. All right, you guys, so we're to the end of the assessment. We are at personal goals right now. And so this is where you want to reflect on what you've done today. And it may have to do with what your goals are for later. You also may already know what you have in mind for the semester for 8 weeks, what you would like to gain or learn or achieve from this day forward. So we meet 4 days a week for 8 weeks. So you have 4 sessions to practice every week for 8 weeks. It's a lot. So there have been great improvements done or made in my last 8-week class that I taught. You can write down whatever you like, but just keep in mind how many weeks we're together, how many days per week that you are practicing. So whatever goals you'd like to put down for the semester, just make sure that you believe that they're attainable, okay, that they're realistic for you. Like I said before, it might have to do with your test results from today. Not achieving the 100 exercise, maybe that's something you feel like you can achieve. If you put down 70 out of 100, I would absolutely put down as your personal goal to achieve the 100 by the end of the semester. If the Fab 5 was very challenging for you and you were only able to achieve 3 out of the 5 at 5 repetitions, that could be a goal for you. Modified push-up pull down, maybe you'd like to be able to do a traditional push-up leg pull down by the end of the semester. That would require practice, and that would require you attending class to improve in the strength area. So, you know, whatever personal goals you'd like to put down, put those down now. Just make sure you keep in mind the time involved, and you know, if it's attainable and if it's realistic for you. Okay, write down those on your sheet, and then that will be it for today. You'll make sure that you'll submit this sheet back to me. You get points for submitting the sheet back to me by Saturday night by 11:55. So our first session will be uploaded, it will be open and up on Canvas on Monday at 5 a.m. The next one will be Tuesday, 5 a.m. The next one Wednesday, the next one Thursday, and then you'll have until Saturday of next week by 11:55 p.m. to have viewed every session of the week and practiced every session of the week. You will get your points for viewing those videos and practicing those videos. Do not download the videos unless you want to just keep the videos on your computer for later, that's fine. But the viewing inside the Canvas assignment, it's embedded into the assignment so that I can track your viewing time, okay? And then there will be a weekly connection every week, and you'll be required to respond and submit that weekly connection answer. And that will be at the end of the week. So you'll have 4 sessions to practice between Monday and Saturday, and 1 weekly connection to finish before Saturday. And it's always very brief. Okay, so that's it. If you have any questions, just make sure you get that. If you haven't done the participation waiver form yet, make sure you get that submitted back to me, and we will start next week on Monday. All right, see you next